podcast party. Descent into Avernus.
My name is Painbearer Corbin Shiv. My friends and I just escaped from Elturel's Grand Cemetery. We're carrying Duke Ulder Ravengard. He is wearing the helm of Torm's sight, but it's put him in some kind of trance. We need to get him back to High Hall, where Sister Ferrier Jinx might be able to help him.
Corbin has powerful build. Can he throw Ulder Ravengard over his shoulder and
absolutely
fireman's carry him?
You can definitely take the load off of Reya and Hylan.
Well, now the question is, do we think that we can just make it over there? Or do we need to find someplace to hole up?
I'm beat up.
I'm okay. I don't know that there's anywhere safe around here.
I've got no magic left.
You can't make a hut?
Oh, I could, but I need 10 minutes.
So, we can't stop here. Obviously, we got to get away from the cemetery.
Yeah.
If it seems like there's a place where we can stop and hide for 10 minutes for Corbin to make a tiny hut, then let's do that. But otherwise, I think we got to just run.
Agreed.
Run as fast as we can.
Yeah, no, we're definitely moving. This is a walk and talk.
We're running.
This is a walk and talk. At the minimum, we're going a full avenue block away from the cemetery before we're even considering stopping.
Yeah.
You guys can hear the sounds of the zombies and of the skeletons filtering out of the cemetery. They do not seem to be coming out of the cemetery in any organized fashion. It seems like they're sort of milling about that through the will of Gideon Lightward that created them in the first place, that created them in their undead state. With him dead, they seem to be just sort of directionless.
We would like to head 2 avenue blocks southeast just to get away from the cemetery. And then I think once we reach this intersection, let's see if any of these buildings look like a likely hiding spot where we could maybe hole up for an hour.
Sounds good.
Are you going to go swiftly or are you going to go slowly?
Let's try to be stealthy.
Okay, we'll slow you down.
That's fine. The zombies are pretty fucking slow regardless, so I think we can afford to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we will try to sneak down the avenue.
Yes.
Since I'm proficient in stealth, are there any, pointers I could get while we're walking where I could assist Renascence somehow?
Can you put padding between his armor plates?
No, but I could point out, look up without saying anything. I don't know, usually with skills you can help somebody.
Yeah, if you're proficient in stealth, then if you want to perhaps try to negate the disadvantage that he has on stealth during your trek to the south, there's no real rule against that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna young Pado on him a little bit.
Okay, so this will be a straight roll for me. Right?
You can guidance yourself.
I guidance myself?
And Corbin will give Reya guidance.
Well, I nat one it. Doesn't actually mean anything on a skill check, so it's a 5.
That's true.
Oh, Corbin nat one it too. I don't feel so bad.
Oh my god!
Look at that.
Yeah, but mine's a 6.
You know what? That sounds about right. That they just go plunk.
Oh god.
And just an enormous sort of ringing of metal against metal.
Hylan and Ofelia just look at each other
Echoes through the streets.
Not again.
because Hylan got a 27.
Yep, Ofelia got a 22. I don't know how anybody else did.
How'd Reya do? And Lulu.
Yeah.
Lulu's flying, so I'm not going to include Ulder Ravengard in this. Oh, crap. That's a 4 from Reya.
And guidance.
So, yeah. Max, it would be an 8. Yeah, unfortunately, as quiet and as light on their feet that Ofelia and Hylan are, Renascence, Corbin, and Reya are not. The sounds of your feet and armaments are heard pretty well through the streets.
Fuck it, let's just run.
You all run to the nearest avenue and sort of skid to a stop. Who has the highest passive perception?
Corbin has a 20.
Yeah, I only have a 17.
Corbin, when you skid to a stop in this intersection, The buildings around you, of course, are completely either burnt out from the inside or dilapidated or fallen in or destroyed in some manner, except for one rather tall building, which seems to be only sort of moderately affected by the descent into hell, as well as the frequent lightning strikes of the companion. Atop the roof of this building, you spy a very strange thing. Make an Arcana check.
7.
Corbin, what you can see looks like a creature, almost like one of those stone gargoyles that you've seen on monuments and buildings back in Baldur's Gate. But this thing is probably twice the size of most of the gargoyles that you've seen, and it's certainly not carved out of stone. It does, however, have long bat-like wings that sprout from its spine, and a face that has a long curved beak. You see twinkling yellowish eyes focused or positioned. Underneath its wings, you see enormous long talons affixed to very strong, muscular, bird-like legs. And it also seems to have a pair of talon-like arms as well in front of it. And it's just staring at you.
And the building it's on, is there a door or anything we can go in the building?
Yeah.
There's a thing on the roof. I think we should get inside, quick.
What building are you looking at?
And he points to the building and the roof.
All right. Can I just take a quick scan around, see if it looks like anyone is immediately on our tail or following us in?
Yeah, hit me with a perception check.
It's an 11.
Do not see anyone on your tail. No zombies, no skeletons, no skeletal minotaurs.
I'm actually not going to lead into this building because I really can't take a hit at this point.
Corbin will shoulder his way into it.
You run full force into the door to try to break it down. Make a strength check.
15.
You run into the door, wham! You hit it full force. It is a very stout oaken door. And atop the building, when you do so, the creature spreads its enormous wings. This thing has a wingspan of about 15 feet. And it levels its eyes at you and takes off into the air.
Here it comes. Either we run or we go in here.
If it's going to get somebody, I don't think we should go in this building.
Then we need to run. Run fast because it flew off.
Okay, yeah, let's run.
Okay, where are you running?
Change direction.
Which way did it fly?
It flew up and beyond your vision. So which direction do you decide to go in?
We're going to take the southeast street towards High Hall.
And you guys are going stealthily or swiftly?
At this point, I think we've blown it. I think we just need to move.
You're just running.
As fast
okay,
as we
cool.
can. Corbin will keep his eyes up to the sky as much as he can.
Yeah, Hylan's gonna keep her eyes on the avenues, looking between the building.
Who's in front?
I am.
Corbin's right behind her.
Hylan, you're sprinting down the alleyway with Corbin on your heels, and there is a foul wind that sort of streaks above you, and you look up just in time to see this creature descending full force, its wings sort of splaying out to catch it on the ground, at which point there is an enormous cloud of dust when it lands. And as it sort of stretches out to its full, magnificent and terrifying width, displaying its razor-sharp talons and its cruel-looking beak, its yellow eyes gleaming from behind a withered set of ocular sockets, it looks at you, and in your mind you hear, "Don't be frightened.
Who are you?
I am not like the ones you've seen before. Please, do not leave."
Do we recognize this devil as like a type that we've seen before? Like,
You know what? Great idea. So I would say all of you come sort of skidding to a halt as this thing basically takes up the entire avenue, wingtip to wingtip. And the only person who can hear this creature's voice in their head is Hylan. So you all sort of like logjam into each other as this thing just comes to a stop.
Wait, everybody wait.
Shing! You hear the sound of steel rasping on steel as Reya pulls out her longsword.
Wait. I need to talk to it. Just give me one second.
What do you mean you need to talk to it?
Now, the rest of you can make Arcana checks.
Can I try a religion check for that matter?
Yeah, religion could work too.
Ofelia has rolled a 20 for her Arcana check.
I got a 7 on the religion check.
Oh, man.
Hylan got a 17.
So Ofelia and Hylan, both of you recognize that this creature is actually not a devil at all. It is, in fact, a demon. It's called a Vrock.
I just wanted to say, we don't have time to stand here. Are you going to help us or what? I'm doing this in my head, right?
Of course, yeah. Hylan, in your mind, there's a very clear connection, and it says, I sense that you are intelligent. Prove me right. And then it points to an alleyway, like a nearby alleyway, a shady alleyway. And it says, if you wish sanctuary from the noise and the dust and the interminable war below as I have, then this way.
Can I do an insight check to see if I believe this tone of voice?
Sure.
Do I sense? Okay.
Absolutely.
That's an 11.
Hard to read.
All right. I just say it's offering us safety if we go down this alleyway.
For what price?
What's the price? I say to it.
I do not understand this word, price.
What do you want from us?
I wish to talk. That is what you mortals do best, is it not?
Why don't you go first?
As you wish.
And it bows its head and, in a sort of almost like an enormous turkey-like walk fashion, stalks into the alleyway.
We don't have very many choices. We have to decide fast. For some reason, I think we should go into this alleyway.
It's seen us already. If it wanted to kill us, it would have.
We should just go now.
Why can't we just walk past it?
Let's go.
This city is full of more dangerous creatures than this one.
I don't like it.
I don't either. I'm going.
I go with Hylan.
Reya looks at you, Hylan, and you, Renascence, and says, are we siding with demons now?
I'm not siding with anyone. I'm going into an alley.
It wants to talk. We're in no condition now.
Fine. And she takes her sword and puts it into its scabbard.
But be ready.
I'm always ready, Corbin.
I mean, I'm definitely not gonna just walk as far as I can down this alley. I'm gonna sort of walk in until I feel that I have walked into the alley, if you know what I mean, and then stop and wait to see what this thing has to say.
It's actually turned around and is now facing you, and it's sort of perched on a piece of broken rock, and its wings are folded behind it. And you see that it has these, like you saw before, these enormous talons on these extremely well-muscled arms in front of it.
You understand why we are suspicious?
Of course.
I'd like to scan the alley to see if there are any other creatures hiding in here.
Perception check.
Corbin's just watching this creature to make sure it doesn't do anything odd.
21 on that check.
You do not see anything in this alleyway of any kind except for you and this thing.
I pull out the dreidel and spin it.
It almost immediately stops on Fiend. You know that there is no other such creature within 60 feet of you.
I close my fist over the dreidel and put it away.
Were you waiting for us?
I was waiting for someone.
What do you mean?
Avernus is a horrid place.
Yes.
The war has gone on for so very long.
And it almost sort of shamefully looks away.
I needed to leave.
Hylan, can you link us up?
We haven't long rested, but I can use dice to do that. I'm gonna do that, and then that will tell me how many hours I can have it for. So that is an 8. I'm gonna say, sorry, Reya, I'll tell you everything. And I'm gonna do Corbin, Ofelia, and Renascence. I'll say, You can speak with all of us now.
The creature says, I left the war.
Do I believe that?
Insight check.
A 19.
You do. It's the tenor of its voice. It's the sort of the utter shame that it has in saying this.
Are you a coward, or why did you leave?
I do not believe I am a coward. I believe that I am a pragmatist, as you mortals call it. I am flawed. I am created out of the stuff of the abyss, but yet I find no anchor to it. Perhaps there are others who conceive it as I do.
It's not impossible. If angels can fall, then demons perhaps can rise. But what is it you want?
I have struggled within myself. Where there is struggle, there should be resolution. There is none in this place. Only conflict, never-ending conflict. Eons and eons of it. No catharsis.
Do you wish for peace?
It looks at you when you say the word peace almost instinctively, with like a look of hatred in its eyes. And it then sort of shuts them and says, Peace, I do not understand. But everything within me does not wish for peace.
Do you want a reason to live, to get beyond this, to be something else? I don't understand what you want.
Neither do I. I cannot bear my own existence. I often wonder if existence is worth the while. If all there is to face is the unending struggle of the blood war.
We can't know what will happen. You just know that you started to walk on a different path than you thought you were on. Maybe there's never been another creature like you. That seems worth seeing through, doesn't it?
It may.
I agree. Walk the path, and maybe that path will lead you somewhere. Like us, we're on a path.
If you wish, I think I can maybe help you take that first step. I point to Ulder Ravengard, who I assume is still draped over Corbin's shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand what's wrong with this man?
It peers over at Ulder Ravengard, and it sort of squints and takes a couple of lopes forward towards him and extends its long, scaly, feathered neck, peruses Ulder's form, and says, No.
When I spoke to him in his mind as we are speaking now, something else was there, and it shut me out. And he seems to be struggling with it. Do you know what that could be?
There are forces at war within this creature's mind. Forces as primal as those that created me and the ones that we war against. But I do not understand its true nature.
How did you come to be in Avernus?
I and my kin have come over and over again. It is the unending struggle. I will be destroyed, and then reform again. Be birthed, only to find my way onto the plains of battle. No matter how much ground we gain, or how much ground we lose, there is no end in sight. We are chaos. Change. Free will.
This city, Elturale, is a new arrival in Avernus. Were you here to see it come down?
It tries to reach back into its memory for a second, and it says,
Yes, this one.
And it looks around.
Is newer.
The Archdevil of Avernus brought this city here. She's looking for recruits. She thinks the souls of this city will help her turn the tide of the blood war. I reckon that's a false hope. Would you agree with that?
My knowledge is insufficient to understand the potential for change.
What is it that you want, then? You want to leave this place. How do you think we will be able to help you to do so?
I do not wish you to help me any more than you wish me to help you. That I know. I simply yearn to hear from those more enlightened than I.
Well, where we come from, city of Baldur's Gate, a lot of people don't believe they can rise above their beginnings. And they think they're destined to live out their lives as what they were made as, not what they choose to be. Especially folk like Corbin and myself. But, like you, we're trying to carve our own way as individuals. Not what people believe we should be, but to define ourselves by our choices. Seems like you're starting to make choices.
Corbin will put his hand on Renascence's shoulder and nod. And he'll look at the creature and say,
So, let's start with, what's your name?
It looks at you strangely, Corbin, and says,
I do not have a name.
You need a name. Everybody needs a name. What do they call you? What does anyone call you? Your superiors, what do they call you?
They do not call me anything. They simply order me into carnage. And I know instinctively that that is I that they call.
Maybe start with a name, and then move on from there. I mean, it's simple enough, I think.
Why a name?
Because individuals have names.
Right.
And you're an individual now.
it almost looks for a second just absolutely bewildered by the idea that it could be separate from the whole.
I'm sure this must be very disorienting for you, but I would guess that, although it seems to me that you are special, that you can't be the only one who's had these thoughts. I know it's hard to feel alone.
If you truly do want to change, we could use your help.
It looks at you, Renascence, and says,
Why would you trust me?
Why would you trust us?
I do not.
And we don't trust you. So let's start there.
I shake my head. I do trust it.
it sort of reflexively sort of moves its talons in and out, which makes it look like some kind of bird of prey about to strike. And then its hands relax, and it says, What is it that you would wish my help? And it says that last word in your mind, like in your way you could feel the emotional connection to that word, and it's like nails on a chalkboard.
Mm-hmm.
When we first saw you, you were watching, waiting to see who came. We need to rest. You could watch over us. Warn us if there's trouble.
Make a persuasion check.
I can talk with you while the rest if you want. I can answer any question you have that it's in my power to answer.
Only a 7.
It says,
I do not understand why you would wish my kind to watch over you.
It's not your kind. It's you.
it just sort of like looks at the ground in utter confusion.
I point to my horns. I say, You know what I am.
You are half of us.
Why ain't we fighting?
Because I wished to know what you have in your minds.
You wished.
For a second, it's completely staggered by those 2 words. And it can't refute it. The fact that it has said I this whole time, not we, but I. It says,
This word, I, it feels like bile in the back of my throat. And yet, I have been speaking it without even knowing it. I must ruminate on this.
and it just sort of sits down and folds its wings over its long taloned arms and puts its beak into its center mass.
You guys want to stay here? If we have like
Yes.
10 minutes,
Yes.
I'm just going to sit down like him and I'm going to quietly say a prayer. And in like 10 minutes, we'll be safe.
Yeah, I'll just keep a lookout.
Corbin sits down on the ground and he starts ritually casting Liamon's tiny hut.
I'm gonna just, in my head, not even necessarily expecting an answer, I'm just gonna say, Liadon, make sure Bahamut takes notice of this.
You don't receive a response from Liadon, but you do feel that it was heard. If no one else wants to converse with this creature, then 10 minutes later your hut springs into being.
Hi, everybody. The show will be back shortly for the second half. Right now, it's time to give you some news about how you can play Dungeons and Dragons with us. Hey, have you ever wanted to befriend a demon, like our heroes did in this episode? Well, our professional dungeon masters are available for hire for online games. Check us out at cast-party.com and follow us on Facebook at CastPartyDND, on Twitter at CastParty2, or on Instagram at cast_party. We have games for kids as well as adults. As always, we're offering monthly free online adventures with our Dungeon Masters. These free games fill up quickly, so if you'd like to grab a spot, you should join our email list or our Discord server. Links to both can be found at cast-party.com. Do you ever feel like you have a great visual picture in your head but need a little help putting it into words? Well, part of the great description of the Vrock we met in today's episode was brought to you by Describe. You can check out thousands of other monsters, spells, location descriptions, and more only at describe.com. If you enjoy Podcast Party, please follow the show, rate us, and leave us a review. We'd love to hear from you. Message us on social media or email us at info@cast-party.com. Follow us on Facebook at CastPartyDND, on Twitter at CastParty2, or on Instagram at cast_party. Thanks very much for listening, and now back to our adventure in Avernus.
Anyone want to tell it? We're going to be under this little dome.
I'd like to give you something. I finished it anyway, and my friend don't really like it. And I will pass it, The Sum of Theology by Saint Vithira, Servant of Agma.
Amazing.
Wow.
It's a page turner.
You just see like one clawed hand stretch out from the middle of its wings, and it takes this book like it's never even seen what a book is, and sort of like holds it upside down, grabs it by the corner, flaps it, and then realizes that it's full of words.
So there's some very, very different ideas in there.
Turns it upright.
I'm not saying I believe all of them myself, but if nothing else, it's a demonstration of the diversity of individual perspectives.
It turns the book to its first page, and one taloned claw comes down and sort of holds the corner of the page down as the book slowly goes into the wings, and they cover over. And you just hear just a single, it's not even a word, it's just a sort of a sound coming from the center of it in your minds. Huh.
I'll leave it with its book. I go back in the dome.
Just give a call if you see anyone coming.
There's no response to that.
All right, well. Ofelia goes in the hut too.
We're going to try for a short rest here, I think.
While we do the short rest, Corbin would like to cast 2 ritual spells. One is Detect Magic, and I want to check over Ulder Ravengard and his shield and his sword and all his stuff to see if there's anything magical on him. And then the other spell is he's going to pull out the little things he's been collecting along the way, including the Van Thamper's Electrum coins and all the other things, and he is going to cast Augury on his little carpet, which he always puts upside down so that the Avernus is on the bottom, and he sits on it, and he's going to throw all these things down, and he's going to ask Ilmater,
So there's this creature here, and is talking to this creature and working with this creature. Is this a good thing or bad thing, or should we kill it? I don't know. I'm confused. I'm not smart when it comes to stuff like this.
and he'll cast all his stuff down. Cast Augury on that.
When you cast Augury, with the three options being Wheel Woe or a combination of the two, the objects that you throw down in order to get this reading, they sort of tumble into one grouping that makes it look for a second like a wheel. But then they sort of roll over like a cocked die into woe, and then it settles into something that actually is both wheel and woe, or maybe one or the other could be affected by a hair or a stiff wind.
I let everyone know that Ilmata thinks with this creature it might go good and it might not. So we just have to be careful how we deal with it. And it's a creature of evil, so I don't know if being kind to it or being strong with it. I don't know how to handle it. But it could go either way, so everyone be careful.
Okay, thank you, Corbin.
Your detect magic, looking over Ravengard's material possessions, sees that his sword definitely is a magical one. His shield is, although bearing the emblem of the Flaming Fist, is a perfectly normal shield. However, you do notice that there are some items in his belt pouches that look like they're glowing from within.
Whatever magical, Corbin's going to pull it out. What kind of magic is it?
They emanate different kinds of magic, so you see sort of a multi-color coming from within inside this belt pouch.
All right, so Corbin will take them out and he'll give them to Ofelia and ask her if she can use her magic to figure out what they are.
The things that you pull out of Ravengard's pouch, actually pretty easy to know what they are because they are all small rolled up pieces of paper. They're spell scrolls. They emanate the kind of magic that is placed upon them. One emanates an evocation magic, one emanates an abjuration magic, and one emanates a divination magic.
So I guess the scrolls, we could just pass them out and have everybody take a look at them. And if Ofelia can do the identify and figure out the sword, that's fine. If not, Corbin can just sit there and kind of concentrate on it and see if he can figure it out.
After an hour, you guys get the effects of a short rest, so you can certainly use your hit dice if you'd like to go ahead and heal yourselves up. Ofelia, did you want to identify that sword?
Yes, I would indeed like to cast Identify on the sword.
It's only a 10-minute cast. After 10 minutes, right after your short rest, you recognize that it is a magical sword, but it doesn't have enormous magical potential. It is, however, mechanically a +1 longsword.
Which is a strength base.
Yeah, it should not be me who takes it, but someone should take it.
I mean, Corbin would be good with it, but he may want it back, presuming he gets unpossessed by demons.
Right, but until then...
Better on you than him for now, in case he goes, a little bit funny.
Right, do you want it, or you like that mace?
No, I think you should take it, but I'm just saying, he is a duke, he may be like, oh, that sword looks familiar, presuming that we fix him.
I'm not greedy, I don't care, I'll give it back to him.
Corbin will take the sword. And then we're going to check out the scrolls.
That's right, there are 3 scrolls. Of those 3 scrolls, Corbin, you can read all of them. One is a scroll of Mass Healing Word.
Awesome.
Ooh.
The second scroll is a scroll of the spell Remove Curse. And the third is a scroll of the spell Tongues.
I will tell everybody that and ask anyone else if they know any of those spells.
I can use the Remove Curse one.
I believe Ofelia has access to some of them.
You have access to Tongues. They do have Mass Healing Word. Bards do not have access to Remove Curse.
We should split it up, right? So, I don't know, who wants this one, Mass Healing Word?
I'll take it.
All right, you take that, just in case.
Okay.
You want Ren to take the Remove Curse?
All right, if you want it.
I can't use the Tongues.
Oh, okay, yeah, so you take this one, Remove Curse, and then Corbin will take the Tongues.
They're all 3rd level scrolls. So yeah, an hour plus change passes after you guys spend that time short resting. The Vrock hasn't moved. The Vrock is just invested in this tome that has been given to him.
We could stay another 7 hours and relax if you wanted, or we can move on.
I think it's pushing our luck.
I think we should move quickly.
All right, just reminding everyone, be careful with this creature. It's not trustworthy. I think it's on the edge of going back to what it was and something else.
If it intends to go cover to cover with that book, it should be busy for days. I think we were lucky to get this rest. We should press on. I think we're just going to try to leave the alley without disturbing the Vrock.
You don't want to tell him?
I think I've said what I can usefully say to him.
Will he get mad we left him? Does that show we don't trust him?
He didn't trust us.
I mean, he can't come with us. It's just like, it's not going to work with High Hall, you know?
Should we say goodbye at least?
If we just leave, doesn't that look bad? Like we're giving up on him?
Its head is still down under its wings, so not quite sure what that means, but you can assume that it's still reading.
I suppose it's worth trying to say goodbye.
I think that would secure our bond with it. I wouldn't want someone to give up on me so quick. I would get mad about that.
I agree with you, Corbin. Ophelia steps out of the hut, and she walks over to the creature. As she approaches, does it acknowledge her? Does it notice her?
Doesn't budge.
How do you like your book?
It shivers, and its head slowly extends out from under its wings.
This is an interest to me. I find it pleasing.
Well, you should keep reading. I am glad that you are starting to think for yourself. If you should ever encounter another who expresses some of the same sentiments you've expressed to us, perhaps it is worth sharing the knowledge that you are gaining with them as well. Do you think that is something you can do?
I will give it thought.
My friends and I are going to leave now.
It jerks its head towards the rest of your group, and then back to you.
I point to the book. That's yours. And if I might make a suggestion, there might be something in the title that you could use for a name. Sum. S-U-M. Simple. Memorable.
Some. It is pleasing to me. My name is Some.
Perhaps we'll meet again, Some. Be safe.
It closes its eyes, closes its wings over its head, and doesn't regard you again.
Corbin will throw Ulder Ravengard over his shoulder, and he will step out of the Liamon's tiny hut, which will make it vanish.
Reya gives one lingering look at the creature you now call Some, and then gently nods her head in its direction, and then follows you out.
Goodbye, Some.
We're gonna try to head east towards High Hall.
Yeah.
You now stand at the foot of this switchback road that brings you up to High Hall. You can see the actual cathedral atop this hill. You came the opposite way to get to the cemetery. You sort of stealthily moved down this switchback road to the other part of the city. But if you're going to really hoof it up this hill, I would like you all to make Constitution saving throws, please.
Oh, I nat 1.
Oof.
Oh, no.
Man.
Everyone does have +3, although it won't help you with a nat 1, but you do all have +3.
My Constitution save is a 20 with the extra bonus.
Renascence also nat 1.
Corbin rolled an 8, but he gets +3, 11.
Lulu rolled an 8 on her save, and Reya rolled a 6. So the only person who actually made their save was Ofelia. Ofelia is just like out ahead of the pack. Of course, it's the elf thing. Let's call running up the hill at full tilt up to High Hall, like a 10-minute run. Yeah, it's about a mile and a half. The downside to those of you who failed your Constitution saving throw is that you will have disadvantage on your next athletics or acrobatics checks. Because you're just fucking sweaty and heaving, and it's awful.
Ugh.
Yeah, stitches, the whole 9. It'll go away with your next long rest. So on the side of High Hall that you guys finally get to, it is that same enormous jumble of broken down turrets and building that have been just demolished by whatever the hell came out of the Avernus skies and made this enormous crater on the west side of High Hall. that you guys actually slid down into, some of you successfully, some of you not, in order to escape through the west side. And that's where you guys stand currently.
Is there anything to tie a rope to?
Nope. I can get us up.
Guys, remember what happened the last time we tried to use a rope to climb this building?
Nope, we're going up.
This is the thing that Corbin fell down last time and rolled all the way down.
Right.
I don't want to do this again.
Got it.
I think if I ask Ilmata, I can get his hands to lift me up and I can carry us up.
Great.
I think it's only 60 feet. I think I could get us all up in like under a minute. Can you guys trust me to take you up?
Of course.
All right, so Corbin is going to cross his hands across his chest, and he's going to say,
Ilmata, bring us Twilight.
and he's going to cast Twilight Sanctuary around all of us, which will give everybody temporary hit points. So you can roll your temporary hit points
All
if
right.
you'd like.
Love that.
And then he will be in dim light, and Corbin can fly. So he's going to carry everybody up one by one. He'll bring Ren first.
He's also got the powerful build thing.
Lulu can take herself.
Ugh, here we go, math time.
So it's 60 up, 60 down.
That's less than a minute.
So it's Hylan. Yeah, it's exactly 5 times.
Wow.
So just at the end, as I'm bringing Ofelia up. Oh,
Corbin, that was incredible. Thank you.
It was Ilmata, it wasn't me. All right, we should keep going, right?
Yeah, hopefully things are as we left them here.
Oh wait, Renascence. I'm going to give you my vigilant blessing too.
I touch him on the shoulder, and
Cheers.
you'll have advantage on the next initiative check.
Where you guys end up is the western side of the main floor of High Hall Cathedral. It's pretty much as you left it from what you remember, except you're in a part of the cathedral that you've only been to once before. That is separated by this enormous curtain. That curtain is what is between you and that main statue of Torm's fist, which is the secret entrance to the catacombs.
Hylan, can you slip in and have a look, see if there's anything between us and that statue?
Sure.
You peek through the curtain and you do not see anything except the mangled bodies of demons, devils, and mortals alike, which have been left haphazardly on the floor of the cathedral.
I'm going to use my last spin of the dreidel to detect good and evil. So celestials, fiends, or undead within 60 feet.
And correct me if I'm wrong, it also does consecrated and desecrated places as well,
That
correct?
is correct. Consecrated or desecrated ground.
Good news, no fiends within 60 feet of you. Bad news is that you get a strange reading off of your dreidel. The reading that you get is that almost all around you is consecrated ground. That comes with the territory. You being in ground that is, although still in hell, completely and totally consecrated to the god Torm. However, the fly in the ointment is that about 55 feet northwest of your position, there is a very, very strong sense of desecration.
Is that the statue that where we need to go down?
No, that's northeast of your position.
Okay, good.
Having been through this area before, do I remember like what that would be?
Have we been in the area where he's picking it up?
No, you haven't. It's directly behind a curtain northwest of you.
Well, let's just head for the statue for now. The statue with the secret passage.
Hit me with some stealth rolls to see how quietly you go.
I'm going to give myself guidance.
Guidance for Reya.
Hylan got a 28.
Corbin got a 7.
Ofelia got a 10.
Oh my God, Renascence actually got a 14.
Wow. Good job.
Reya unfortunately got a 10 on her stealth. Okay, so it's a 13 with guidance. And Lulu got a 17. So overall, it's a middle to decent stealth check. You think that you're pretty quiet.
So we should continue?
Okay, I think we need Renascence to pull this, right? Or
Yes, it is still closed.
Okay, so this is a thing. I think opening this is,
Can Reya do it?
do you have to be a special boy? I forget.
Yes, this is the special boy check, right? You have to actually have a consecration to Torm.
Reya, can she do it?
I think we're about to find out.
Reya walks over and she performs the special point check. Okay, that's an 18.
Oh, that's very special. That's a special roll if I ever saw one.
She enables you all to enter the catacombs through the secret entrance. And then she gestures to Lulu to flap down inside, which she does. I'm assuming you take Ulder over your shoulder.
Yeah, I got him.
Lulu has already lit the way as she has cast the cantrip Light.
We're right behind you, Lulu.
And y'all, I'm assuming, go down into the catacombs.
Mm-hmm.
We do.
Reya grabs the lever and closes the door to the level above, and you all make your way through the ensuing gloom lit by the magical light of Lulu's love back towards Sister Feria Jinx. Who laughed? Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Keep that, Carrie. Come on.
That's making the show. Making the show. Cut and print. Thanks for listening. This episode featured the Dungeon Master stylings of Matt Gordon, Andy Cannistra as Painbearer Corbin Shiv, Carolyn Fox as Hylan, Rachel Tamarin as Ofelia, and me, Tal Aviezer, as Renascence. This episode was edited by Carolyn Fox and me. Our original theme music is by Lauren Anker and Anthony DiMasso. Remember, if you enjoy Podcast Party, please follow the show, rate us, and leave us a review. Thanks very much for listening. We'll be back in 2 weeks with the next episode. Corbin and I kind of put our backs against each other.
Oh, yeah.
I'm definitely seeing like a Cusco, what's his friend's name moment where they're like walking up the chasm. I don't know who that is.
You're on your own with this reference.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, it's for the Emperor's
You've
New
never
Groove.
seen the
Come on.
Emperor's New Groove?
No.
They don't have kids. It's
Oh,
okay.
it's such a good movie. Rachel, you have kids?
It's a great movie.
Rachel, you have
I
kids?
don't have kids, but I babysat for years.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
she's around
okay.
them.
Also, I
Sorry.
have great taste, so there's that.
Well, that goes
You
without
guys should definitely watch The Emperor's New Groove. And like, I can't believe how many pop culture references you're potentially missing out on, not knowing like.
I can't believe how long I'm having to wait to see if I'm killed by this attack.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to wait. I'm just going to wait it out. That's fine. That's fine.
Anyway, this podcast sponsored by The Emperor's New Groove, available on Disney Plus, I assume.